Welcome back. You're watching Connect the World. I'm Lynda Kinkade. Well, it's been nearly 2 years since the world watched in horror as France's Notre Dam Cathedral went up in flames. The fire ravaged the roof of the iconic 13th century church, destroying its spire. Well, now oak trees dating back to the French Revolution are being chopped down for the landmark's reconstruction. CNN's Jim Bitterman has the details.
It was one of the most heartbreaking sights of a tragic afternoon. The towering spire of the Cathedral of Notre Dame came crashing to the ground as a devastating fire swept through the roof. But now, a more encouraging image of spires crashing down. In a forest south of Le Mans, France, a harvest of mighty oaks is underway. The first of 200-year-old trees needed to rebuild the spire and roof support beams destroyed by the fire. In all, 1,000 trees will be needed. Well, there's been some opposition from environmental groups about the use of centuries-old trees to rebuild Notre Dame. The forestry people here say it's a testament to the richness of natural resources in this country that in this forest alone, there are more than 100,000 trees that are over 150 years old. At the church itself, there is no resounding pipe organ playing just yet. But as CNN discovered when it got rare access to the cathedral, the walls have been cleaned and stabilized. Some of the stained glass windows and ancient stone statuary already restored. There remains a gaping hole in the roof, though, covered only with plastic to keep out the elements. For that, workers are now building 90-foot-tall walls of scaffolding inside the cathedral, which will eventually support a temporary platform for restoring Notre Dame's unique vaulted ceiling, much of which was destroyed or damaged in the fire. Architects say once the platform is in place, precisely engineered wooden arches will provide the bracing to reconstruct the styrofoam stone ceiling vaults. Once all that is done, the engineers will turn their attention to rebuilding the roof itself, reconstructing the spire, and replacing the interior roof beams using the oak that is now being cut, exactly in the same fashion as those that were destroyed in the fire. There were hundreds of ideas from the public suggesting more modern ways to rebuild Notre Dame, but in the end, President Macron decided that it should be rebuilt exactly as it was, albeit with better fire protection. Reconstructing the cathedral as it was seems to be more or less a popular idea.
It's a cultural building. It belongs to everybody. So I think it's very important for everybody to rebuild it in the same way, I think, in the classical way.
We should respect the monument and the century when it was made and the methods that were used to build it.
Back amid the ancient oaks, knowing they'll be used for a noble purpose suits the forestry managers just fine.
We know it's the end of something, but it's the beginning of something else. This piece of wood is going to have a second life, and maybe even longer than the life he had in the forest.
Jim Bitterman, CNN, in the Bercé Forest of France.
We just heard from Pauline Delord in Jim's report. She manages the forest where these centuries-old oak trees grow and joins us now from France. Good to have you with us.
Hi.
I liked your quote where you said it's the end of something. It might be the end of something, but it is also the beginning, because these beautiful old trees will now be admired in a new form.
Yes, that's definitely true. Those trees are more than 200 years old, and they will probably last longer, or that's what we hope, on the roof of the cathedral. So yeah, it's something beautiful for them. It's a beautiful second life, definitely.
And the idea of a contemporary redesign for Notre Dame was shot down, was dismissed by the French president, and it's now going to be an identical restoration. So sourcing a really good oaks, the best oaks, is key here.
Yeah, it was very important to find the right type of oaks with the right dimensions, and it has been a lot of work for the foresters. But we managed to do it, and now we found all the trees that are needed by the architects to rebuild the flesh of Notre Dame.
And what's quite fascinating, I was reading, the oaks are going to come from all corners of France, not just from one region.
Yeah, that's true. We really tried to have oaks coming from all parts of France, from different forests, 200 forests, about, and from public forest and also from private forest. So all types of forest are represented and will be in Paris.
And just talk us through the process. What happens once the trees are cut?
Well, they will be conducted to the sawmill, and there they will be sawed. That will take a few months, between April and September. And then the beams will have to dry, and they have to dry between a year and a half. And that after this drying period, that the carpenters will start working the wood.
Wow.
So it takes a long time.
It's a lengthy process, a very expensive process, but no doubt many people in France can't wait till the cathedral is rebuilt.
Yeah, we'll be very happy, and the French foresters are very proud to be able to contribute and to give this wood for the cathedral.
Oh, it's good to see that restoration work is underway. Good to get your perspective with us on those beautiful 230-year-old oaks. Thanks so much for your time, Pauline.
Thanks, bye.
Well, ahead on the show, imagine enrolling your child in a COVID vaccine trial. That's what parents of 144 children under the age of 12 are doing as governments fight to get them back into the classrooms. We're going to have a live report when we come back.